Anybody has anything you want to discuss? Everybody's very quiet today. I think that this Upanishad is quite interesting, very unusual. The beginning also.
How's your hand, Uma?
It's better. It's better. Yeah.
Better? No pain or anything now?
No, I do have pain, but it's like I was saying, relatively better. I still have pain. Yeah.
Okay. Are you having any medication for pain or anything?
No, I'm not taking any medication for pain. Yeah.
Hey, Kamla, you're lying on the lawn?
We can't hear you, Kamlaji. Can't hear you still. You have to unmute.
You have to unmute.
I'm in the park. My grandson is playing here and I'm listening to the talk.
Oh, wow.
I was, I'm working on this. We do meditation every day, and sometimes when I'm doing this guided meditation, these different thoughts come.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about this Gyan Marg, Bhakti Marg, and Karam Marg. Gyan Yog, Karam Yog, and Bhakti Yog. Are you listening?
Yes, of course we are listening. We all are listening.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Mm-hmm. So then, because I'm working on nadis also, so I was connecting it. This Ida is feminine nadi.
Mm-hmm.
It activates your emotions. So we can achieve self-realization only when our Ida Pingala are balanced and we go to Sushumna. So through Ida we activate Bhakti because it's all emotions. That's why we sing all these songs, Bhakti songs, and we are there. So we can achieve to that self-realization through Bhakti Marg. And then through Pingala is energy. So we achieve self-realization through Karam Yoga when we connect our attention all the time in all our karmas, but our attention is all the time upon God. So that's how through Karam Yoga we achieve self-realization. And then Sushumna is the balance of these two. And when that is balanced, then we get this deep knowledge. So through Gyan Yoga, we get, but ultimately what happens, this is my interpretation, I didn't read anywhere, okay? So this Ida, Pingala and Sushumna, they meet at Ajja Chakra, in between the eyebrows. So after you can reach up to this level through Gyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and what is the third one? Gyan, Bhakti, and Karma Yoga. And then only Sushumna goes from Ajja Chakra to Crown Chakra, Sahasrara Chakra, 1,000 petal lotus. Only Sushumna goes there. So once you can become self-realized only through all these paths. But if you want to get moksha, then you have to go to Crown Chakra, Sahasrara Chakra, and the only way to go there is through Sushumna Nadi, through meditation.
Yeah, I think that sounds fun.
Sushumna Nadi is the Kundalini, in other words. The Kundalini has to rise, basically.
Yeah, Kundalini has to rise from the bottom chakra to all this.
But so as the Kundalini rises right to the crown chakra, and then uske baad aata hai upar Saras chakra, then you become like all-knower. Your third eye opens.
No, third eye opens when you come to in between the eyebrows. So your third eye can open by Karam Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga also, because
But when your third eye opens, you become all knower. When the third eye opens, you become all knower. You can see everybody's past, present, future. You can know what is happening. Like Sadhguru, in today's world, there are lots of God realized people, and so they can they can answer any question. You can ask them any question, and they will have a very appropriate answer to your questions.
Because they have this access to the knowledge, they have this wisdom, they have this intuition, and because this is the chakra of knowledge, intuition, perception, and wisdom. So, but they still have to work hard to go to moksha. That's why these self-realized souls, they do meditate also, because by becoming self-realized doesn't mean that you just get partial power, but to get moksha, you still have to work hard to go to the Sahasrara chakra.
Okay, that may be like, let me tell you what all of you, none of you are wrong, but the last part I have a little confusion, Bolo, the way you are explaining. Because when we talk about moksha or nirvana, the word self-realize is already moksha is there. So you are contradicting when you are saying the self-realized people have to get a moksha, because what Bhagavad Gita says is called Jivan Mukti. While you are in this body, you are already merged with the higher. So after that, and then the other thing is that when we say we have to go there, what Swamiji explains, and we did it in our Mandukya Upanishad also, what humans are capable of only purifying your mind. The final, जो मोक्ष बोलो या सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन बोलो या निर्वाण बोलो, वो भगवान की ग्रेस से आता है. Okay, and there are 2-3 different ways to explain that. One is we are very limited, and now you are trying to become unlimited. So the gap is so big, we ourselves are not capable of doing it, but we bring ourselves to one point, and after that it automatically happens. And the example given by Swamiji is so beautiful. It is as when you're going to sleep. He's saying when you want to sleep, what do? You do preparation for sleep. Everybody knows हम लोग घोड़े नहीं है कि हम लोग खड़े सो जाएंगे. So we have to go lie down. And then we have to make it the room little dark. We have to drop all our attachments, because अगर मन में कोई दुविधा है, कोई problem है, हमको नींद ही नहीं आएगी. हम लोग उसी पे चर्न करते रहेंगे. So basically we are we make all the preparation the same way. What we have to do is prepare our mind for that final experience and then just wait. You can never go through your own effort. You cannot cross. That's when the grace of Bhagwan comes. And there is some shlokas in the Shastras which say, when their grace comes, then you get self-realized.
Yeah,
it never is through your own effort. Your job is to purify and wait.
So,
Uma, I think you're 100% right when you say it comes through grace.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yesterday I heard just this, Kamlaji, where it's part of Gita, and then Shivji explained how there's a Gupta Gyan by which you can obtain moksha at death time. And they describe the whole body as to how the whole Brahman is part of your body. And when you are dying, and I'll send you that to everybody because it's very beautifully done, that once all your energies go to your head before you are dying, if you can just say Om, you can get there. But the trouble is that we cannot say Om because our body is aching and we are worried about our pain here, pain there. So all this yoga mode is useful, that when you are dying, you can move there and say Om. And I'll send you that piece. It's very beautifully done.
We are going to come across the same exact concept in
Yeah, it is
chapter
part
8.
of Gita.
Yeah. In chapter 8, it is there, and Gita ji is here. She
Yeah.
probably knows the shlokas where he says that at the last minute, if you can chant Om and Adhyatma Chetasa ko ekdam center kar lo Bhagwan pe, to moksha mil jayega tumko. Even last minute means, I think I was discussing with my bhabhi this thing, that, sometime when people are too much into the world and all that, say, Krishna Bhagwan say, up to the last point, you can turn around, because every human birth is so sacred that you have a chance to get the moksha. And किसी ने नहीं भी किया हो साधना, but अगर towards the end में करना शुरू कर दे, उसको भी मिल सकता है. So we all have a lot of
God
hope.
kills you, you get moksha. No matter how much papi you are.
Yeah, if the pop doesn't matter. And one of the beautiful example, think about this example, it's so nice. It's going to come, that similar example in Bhagavad Gita, that is saying that if you have a boat, it does not matter how deep the water is. You can cross the water. Is that true? That's a scientific fact, right? 10 feet हो चाहे 100 feet हो, बोट पे बैठेगा तो निकल सकता है. बोलते हैं मेक कृष्ण भगवान तुम्हारा बोट का, जो बोलते हैं ना कि क्या बोलते हैं उसको, नाव चलाने वाला. अगर ज्ञान की नौका में बैठ के कृष्ण भगवान को बना दिया, नाव पार कर जाओगे, कितना भी तुम्हारा उसमें पाप भरा हो. I thought that example was so beautiful. That, if this is the power of this kind of thing. I think Kamla ji is gone. I don't see her.
Maybe it's time for her to take her son back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that, to me, that there was a confusion in her mind about self-realize and moksha. Moksha is something beyond. No, self-realization is moksha. And actually what Krishna Bhagwan says is that when you don't get affected by the dualities of this world, that is moksha. He simplifies it so much because he calls it beyond death, beyond sorrow. And what is death and sorrow? When we get affected by the changes that happen constantly.
Basically, moksha is merging in consciousness.
Yes.
And consciousness has no feelings. So you're already there.
Right.
So it doesn't matter once you become conscious, whether you are on earth or you are on the sky or somewhere.
There you go. Yeah, it is the merging that is more important, because वो जो प्रकृति का तो चलता रहेगा. कृष्ण भगवान ने भी तो लिया ना birth यहाँ पे, and he had to shed his body too.
Right.
So that has nothing to do with the bodily functions. So somebody could be self-realized and have moksha while in the body too, like what you're saying, because they are in tune with that Brahman.
And many people, they enjoy the bhakti mark so much, they don't want moksha.
True. The bhakti वाले बोलते हैं हमको मत दो, because हम लोग को इतना आनंद आ रहा है.
Right.
Yes, true. They like to stay in that duality.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, this is important. So what? And anybody else has a comment on this? Because this is does that make that sense, the concept that we're talking about? Because sometimes when we talk about moksha, we always think marne ke baad moksha milega. And Swamiji was totally I shouldn't say opposed of the idea, but he hammered that he's talking about right here now.
Right.
Don't wait for dying and things like that.
Yeah, that is Vidya Mukt. कि body consciousness रहे नहीं तुमको, and you're absolutely merged into consciousness.
Yeah. And he's telling Arjun to fight the war while having this thing. That means that you function in the world with your body and you are aware of everything. You are not a buddhu or anything. If somebody something stupid, you understand that. And you will try to correct it and everything, but within your mind and all that, you are totally connected, and at your consciousness level you are one. And I think there is a very famous, maybe you have heard about this, famous dialogue between Hanuman ji and Ramchandra ji, कि either them or it is Hanuman ji ने बोला ये बात, कि किसी ने बोला कि रामचंद्र जी से relationship क्या है तुम्हारा? And somebody asked him. Yeah, that's the story, right? Meena ji is nodding her head. She knows about it. Very beautiful thing. So he said, तुम्हारा relationship क्या है? So he said, अगर मैं बॉडी से सोचूं रिलेशनशिप क्या है तो मैं भक्त हूं उनका. I'm a das actually, he said. I'm the sevak, so I do everything that he tells me to do. मन से सोचूं तो I'm a part of him. मेरा मन उनमें लगा हुआ है. आत्मा से सोचूं तो हम एक हैं. Right? So that's what it is. That the person who is self-realized has reached that stage that he understands and experiences it. For us, it is like right now we have studied everything. We don't have that experience. And what Swamiji says, that final experience comes with grace. That's what it is. Because you are asking for such a big thing, you are not capable of going there. And I think the sleep example is the best one. Who remembers going in sleep? I don't even know the moment I go to sleep. It's a slide into it. We have a perfect example in our own experience of sleep. उधर निद्रा देवी का जब आशीर्वाद होएगा ना तब हम सो पाएंगे. that whole chanting is there, no, of Devi. Nidra rupena sanstita namastasya 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 namo namah ya Devi sarvabhuteshu. I think that. क्या बोला आपने मंजू?
हाँ, वो अभी आ रहे हैं नवरात्रे, and all those verses will be reciting.
Very beautiful verses, yes. Yeah. So this, when we talking about Adhyatma Chetasa, I was thinking about it. India में इतने त्योहार आते हैं ना, अगर वो करेक्ट ढंग से करो ना, उनके पीछे हमेशा अध्यात्म ही होता है. ऑटोमेटिकली अध्यात्म चेतसा हो जाएगी. लेकिन उसका रूप बिगाड़ दिया ना सब कुछ. They just do it, जैसे पार्टी करो बस. उसका जो रियल मीनिंग है वही भूल जाते हैं लोग.
नहीं, हम लोग वो जितने भी फेस्टिवल्स हैं 3 मोड में उसको सेलिब्रेट करते हैं. एक तामसिक, राजसिक और सात्विक. तो जो लोग सात्विक मोड में है वो सात्विक वे में इसको सेलिब्रेट करते हैं. लाइक you look at that festival in that way.
True.
कि नवरात्रि जब आएंगी तो कि उस टाइम जो you have that in the universe that extra शक्ति prominent है, तो उससे हम लोग अपना we can make a lot of improvement.
Yeah, what we can do is next week in our discussion time, we have symbolism of Navratri, which you may or may not have heard. A very simple one, but very beautiful one. And whatever we learned from there is one book called Hindu Culture by Tejomayi Anandji, and he has in it the explanation of all the symbolism, and he's explained it, and it's so beautiful. So I'll share it with you. Yeah, I'll share it because it will benefit everybody कि हम नवरात्र क्यों क्या है actually आध्यात्म की दृष्टि से देखो तो उसका meaning क्या है, and then other people can also bring out their viewpoints, and I think that'll be a good discussion next week. Anybody else has any question or any
and we can
comment?
Do it little before Navratri, मतलब 1 or 2 weeks before Navratri. Navratri is going to start on the 18th of September.
September to gaya, October you mean?
October.
So next week will be a good time and the discussion time to do that.
So if we do it about 2 weeks before, it will be very nice. Then we'll attempt the whole thing in the correct way.
Yeah. Sure. So should we, if nobody has anything else to say, shall we close the class and see you next time? Okay. All right.
Thank you, Maji. Thank you.
Namaskar,
Hari Om.
everybody.
Thank you, bye.
Everybody, namaskar.
Bye. Namaste.
Thank you, Mom.
Have a good week, everyone. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody have a good week.
Stay healthy.
Thanks to Uma.
Thanks to Lord
Doing
Krishna.
all this for us.
Okay. I'm ending the meeting now. Bye.